Great news! You're on the moon and everything is going to be fine. This is Moon Colony Bloodbath, published by Rio Grande Games, designed by Donald X. Vaccarino with art by Franz Vohwinkel. It is a card game for 1 to 5 players, all of whom will be looking after their own individual moon colony. It's just human beings trying to live and exist in space. How hard can that be? I mean, there's no way this is the kind of game where you build an exciting space base and then it's immediately torn apart by hubris and robots.
Did you call, sir?
Not you, Mr. Hubris, my trusty Robot Butler, who you'll have all seen many times in our many YouTube videos. Right, Moon Colony Bloodbath is a game about making a moon colony. Don't worry about the last part of the title. How are you going to build that colony? Well, on your little player board, you'll find everything you need. All 5 of the different actions that you can take in the game. You can mine to get money, you can farm to get food. Researching lets you draw cards, and build lets you build those cards into your personal tableau of space structures. The only weird one is restock, which puts these little crate tokens onto your cards. These crates have no effect on their own, but some of the cards you can build get better if you fill them up with boxes. And all of your humans, they live crammed down here, safe and sound, all hanging out together. Best of buds working together to build your titular moon colony. Bloodbath.
And what you choose to build into your moon colony is really important, because every player starts with these same 5 identical actions, but everything you build will change that quite quickly. Buildings that match the color of an action will act as augments. Every time I take a mining action, I get loads of extra money and some other stuff as well.
Yeah, and every time I mine, I just get 4 money.
Yeah, nothing, you peasant.
And there are very few guardrails here. Players can really just go off in one direction and intensely do just one thing, which means a couple of rounds into the game, you're all doing things that are quite different.
Yeah, you could be like me and hypercharge your mining. Or maybe you go mad for agriculture and make it so that food is now cash.
The apple's eyes money now. Apples for sir?
Great, yeah, thank you very much. So this is textbook engine building, right? Just a couple dorks optimizing pathways. What could be more natural?
Ooh, lovely. What's stopping me from just mining every action and collecting absolutely obscene quantities of space bucks?
Nothing! Asterisk. It's moon colony, asterisk.
Okay, so not everything is entirely as it seems in this game, Moon Colony Bloodbath.
Everything we've been saying so far might make you think that Moon Colony Bloodbath is a game in which Matt takes an action, and then I take an action, and then Matt takes an action, and we go round and round until somebody wins. No, because it's powered by this shared event deck. Every turn, you just pull a card from this deck, and then everyone simultaneously reacts to whatever is depicted.
We're not going to bury the lead here. Sure, these building cards are a spicy addition that makes Bloodbath a good game. But this shared event deck is what makes it a great one. Initially, this shared deck is slim and boring. It's 8 cards total, and half of them are work cards. Just everyone does an action.
Just does an action.
Just work.
Just working.
So when they're pulled, each player simultaneously works. Getting some cards or some food or boxes, a carton of eggs, a carton of cigarettes, a margarita, whatever you fancy. It's a Thursday. Go mad. Players can mark how many of these work cards you've already seen during a round by using these segment tokens, which seems a bit silly because there's only 8 cards in the deck and 4 of them are work. I mean, it's not going to be difficult to keep track of how many work actions you've done, is it? Now in each round, you're going to go through every card in this deck and then you just give them a shuffle and it's a new round. There's no upkeep, no admin, you just back into it, keep things rolling. And with 4 work cards each cycle, that's so much time to get yourself resources, build stuff, and before you know it, you've got an engine that is just exploding and doing really stupid things. So I'll build hydroponics to make my farming get me bonus humans, a nursery that means when I farm, I get to spend a crate from the card for 4 bonus humans. That card lets me then play a perk for free, lets me put one of my cards into the deck that will get me a box every round and a box immediately. And then when I farm, I'm gonna get 5 free humans. In the future, I'm gonna build a moon hotel, which gets me even more humans and lets me spend food to attract tourists. More humans. I'm gonna have so many humans. So it's all very Moon Colony, but where's the bloodbath?
Sir, your bloodbath is ready.
Ah, thank you, Hubris, my trustworthy robot butler. I've got some bad news, and it starts with drawing this card, aptly named Trouble. When Trouble appears, it means you take the next card from this stack of escalating event cards and you put it face down on top of the deck, which means it's the next thing that's gonna happen. And none of these events are good. These cards are an escalation of problems. They're not nice. And the Trouble cards that cause a new event card to be put, they don't go away. They're gonna keep coming back every round and you're gonna add new problems. And I perhaps forgot to mention that your starting deck has 2 Trouble cards in it, which means every round you get 2 brand new problems to add to your existing problems. Initially, these aren't too bad. People are hungry and need to be fed. That seems reasonable. The second event card is just paperwork. That doesn't seem so bad, it's just paperwork. It just means draw 1 card, then discard 2 cards. But I've only got 1 card, so... And so in no time at all within the first round, everyone is juggling the needs of humans basically trying to survive. But then on top of that, you've got accidents, gas leaks, tempers flaring, and people just attacking each other with space drills. Come on, guys. Big problems come later, but initially these cards just add a bit of friction to your engine. Yeah, you've got some big plans for apples, but you keep having to spend them to feed people, so my plans for apples aren't coming to fruition. But then in no time at all, you hit this card and everything changes. Add a robot. There's a whole deck of different robots that might get added. All of them are not the best for humans remaining alive. You got the mining robot. He's ended the lives of 6 people, but he does do a bit of mining while he's there. Useful. The research robot, yeah, they're gone as well. But luckily, if you've got lots of cards in your hand, then he'll take some of them away to do research with them. Thanks. The military robot, obviously, lots of people end up not being alive anymore, but you do get money. It's the industrial complex, it's still here, it's thriving. And again, every card that you add into the event deck gets put on top of the draw pile, which means, oh, I wonder what's happening next. Ha, yeah, it's that robot. The robot's here, we're all f***ed.
From this point on, Moon Colony Bloodbath becomes almost farcical. At the start of the game, the ratio between Moon Colony and Bloodbath looks something like this, but just a couple rounds in, it looks more like this. And by the end of the game, it looks like this. At the start of the game, work actions are just a given. They're unremarkable, they're just what happens during the game. But it is hilarious how quickly players become absolutely ravenous for them.
We've played a whole bunch of games over the past few years that have explored the idea of space when looking at perhaps some of the slightly crap realities of that, but I do love the fact that you find yourself so happy to see work appearing. We get to work just because it's better than the bloodbath.
Would Sir like another bloodbath?
No thank you, Hubris. I'm busy.
Sir would like another bloodbath.
No thank you.
This is what Sir would like. Sir would like this.
No. No! Hubris! No!
And now is a great time to talk about the endgame trigger for Moon Colony Bloodbath, which happens when someone's built out a whole bunch of buildings or gets a whole bunch of points, right? No. It happens when one person's Moon Colony is completely eradicated, devoid of any human life, at which point the player that has the most Moon Colony left is the winner.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Sort
It's
of.
so bleak, and I love it. Oh, but how do these buildings get destroyed? Everything we've seen so far just removes people from the game. Great. Well, when you don't have enough people left to remove, you can pop open a building, freeing all of the people trapped inside, right into the arms of a sentient blender. You build yourself a home in the first few cycles of this deck, and then weather the storm for about as long as you can before beginning to slowly erode that same house bit by bit by bit. It's an engine builder, and then an engine destroyer, a tableau that collapses about as fast as a hammock made of toilet paper. And this stuff really works. Both thematically and mechanically, you're making tough choices about what parts of your engine you can get rid of. I'm gonna sever life support to the greenhouses so that hopefully the people living in the bunker have enough food to survive. But also, it's very unusual to have an engine builder where you're chucking in redundancies. It's tremendously satisfying trying to protect the engine that you've built, ensuring that it cranks out stuff until the bitter end, as Rome 2, Moon style, burns around you. The first few games of this we played, we found them surprising, silly, thematic, but perhaps a touch gimmicky. How long will this thing stay fun and stay varied now that the bloodbath has been revealed? Well, turns out it manages it. It has its cake and eats it too. It's real good.
First off, I adore the way that at the start of the game, you're going to randomly choose 2 twists. These event cards will trigger every round, and being at the start of the game a quarter of your deck, it means they're going to substantially change the shape of the whole game that you're playing. Even just tiny tweaks in the core economy can have a massive impact. These twist cards, sometimes in subtle ways, sometimes in very obvious ways, completely change the value and prospect of all of the building cards in the game. They make you approach the puzzle in a different way. And having this one shared event deck that you all flip a card and do something at the same time, it's cool, but what it does goes a long way beyond just streamlining. A bunch of building cards that when you build them also add new events that you'll find in this separate deck of cards. And some of these just offer optional transactions that players can take advantage of. A player builds a kitchen, and then for the rest of the game, every round you have a vending machine that appears. It means every round when this card appears, anyone can sell food for money. It's just more likely to initially benefit the player who built the kitchen, because the kitchen is helping them make more food. But because this card is now in this shared deck, you'll just sit, and every time it comes up, you'll just side-eye them and go, oh yeah, vending machines, selling food, pretty cool for you. Equally annoying in a lovely way are these perk cards that players can unlock and add to the shared deck. So that once around, we flip the card and, oh, it's for me, a treat for me. I get something, and no one else does anything, just me getting something. Carry on. But I really fell in love with this design when I realized that some of the development cards that get added to the event deck when you make a certain building, well, some of them are just bad. Budget cards, we haven't got the money, so everyone's losing money now, every round. Repairs, oh yeah, we gotta repair stuff, everyone loses one of these, sorry. Or best of all, maybe I'll build a reactor. The reactor is great, it's cheap, but if it does get destroyed, then I have to go through this deck and find a card called Radiation, which just means we lose, our buildings get destroyed or there's a loss of human life. Explodes, it explodes. Who knew? And while this isn't as intricate as Earthborn Rangers, or the way that that game manages to create ecosystems with just a handful of cards, it is wonderful the way that this event deck creates a sense of shared space around the table. One which doesn't very often get any better, but it does sometimes get worse when you do things that are good for you. And that's when you start to realize that the buildings that have the best bonuses often don't contain that many humans, and it means that when you do have to start chewing through your buildings to get humans to feed for the robots, it eats through your buildings quite fast. Meanwhile, look at these buildings. They contain so many humans. This energy shield will protect me. But it will also add a brand new event card, which means things are going to get worse immediately for everyone else. But I'll probably be fine. And look at this bunker that I just built. It adds so many humans, and it also does add another robot. I'll see you soon. But my favorite thing about this rather unique arc of the whole game is because the window of time it lets you do things in is so small. In that time, it just lets you do stuff. I've had games of this where I've just had too much money. I've had games of this where the person opposite me is drawing so many cards, and I'm purposefully trying to draw as few of them as possible because when it comes to my turn, I just get to draw them for free if I have none. My favorite thing in games is when you can play around the edges. You can go, okay, well, this is how the game's played, but what happens if I go around and just use this mechanic over here? It's not always a way that is clever, and frequently I'm not successful, but if you give me a game about farming llamas and I find there's a way to play the game without farming any llamas at all, then you can be sure that that's what I'm gonna do, that. The no llama strat. Moon Colony lets you do pretty much whatever you want, but it doesn't let you do it for very long. The question is whether or not that will matter. It gives you the tools to build these sparkling engines, but then it snatches them away from you if you're not playing in tandem with the twist the game is throwing at you. The specific different flavors of nastiness and maybe kindness that other players are throwing into the event deck alongside you. And that's probably all a big part of why MCB by DXV is arguably, it's one of my new favorite games. The first time I played this, I played it 5 times within 24 hours. I cannot get enough of this game. It is mechanically superb. And the presentation of this, well, as you can see, it's a lovely homage to science fiction stories from the 1950s, bit of 1960s thrown in there as well, for sure. And I love the specific tonality that they've injected into this game that really speaks to those eras. It's a small detail, but these apple tokens represent food, and often in board games we have these, apples are food, it's a piece of meat, but it just means food. In this though, on your board, you've got a picture of loads of apples in an orchard, and it gives the implication that maybe they are just eating apples.
And nothing else.
It's easy to capture these 1950s aesthetics and just put them into things, and we've seen tons of products and games doing that. But it's these specific details that really speak to the shiny, dreamlike visions of the sci-fi of this era. A time in which the genre was all about the spectacle and the drama and the factors of shock, sometimes just the effects you were seeing on the screen. And because the focus was in all of those places, it meant that often the details around the edge were a little fuzzy. If you poked at it, things didn't really make sense. It's very different to the sci-fi of today, which is all about those tiny background details being heavy and rich and keeping the whole world feeling grounded. And yes, I am the first person to say that Rio Grande games are often ugly in a way that I find a bit needless. However, I do think that the graphic design here is pretty perfect for what it is. The simplicity of these block colors makes the whole game very readable. And I really appreciate the way that the different types of cards, which you need to organize between games, all use different types of silhouettes. It's basic, but it's functional, like a menu from a 1950s diner. It's a fun box, and all of the different playable characters are functionally identical and just have different pieces of art. So what happened here? You've got this lovely medley of 1950s sci-fi, and then you've got a guy in a Rasta hat smoking weed and making jokes about the munchies. What decade does that fit into? Why is this here? It feels like a joke from about 30 years ago. It's very Chevy Chase. It's like that guy at the wedding who keeps doing his funny voices and then complains that he doesn't really get invited to these things. And I really don't think that this ended up in the game because of any ill intent or malice. I just think it's just crap. And mostly this is just sad, because this is a game that has a really good diversity of character art throughout all of the rest of the game. And the character boards are just a piece of art and a name, and there's so much other art that could have been used. It would have been very easy for this to be different, and in the future, it would be. As much as I might rag on the aesthetic of these games, Rio Grande put out great games. They really do. And I really don't want this to be a publisher that ends up being that weird guy at the wedding who no one wants to talk to.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? Because we really like the game and it's just this one thing that's put an annoying dampener right at the end of the review.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
We have to mention it has to go somewhere. This review would have been quite different.
Yeah.
Tom would have been wearing the robot suit for the whole review.
The whole video. And we were going to film it on the moon.
Yeah.
I was going to shoot lasers at my eyes.
Real lasers. And I was going to have a moon buggy.
Yeah.
And 6 beautiful assistants riding on the side of the moon buggy.
And we were going to be cruising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to be so popular in the moon base.
Wow. And I was going to have so much money.
Yeah, so if publishers could just have a little bit more editorial oversight, then all of our videos would be exactly like that.
Yep. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Bye.